Good morning, all. So happy to see you today on my birthday. What a way to celebrate, to be coming to A Course of Love with Mari Perrin today. And I just get so excited every single time I wake up and know that I'm going to be reading this morning because it makes such a difference in my life. After having studied the course in miracles for years, probably 3 years, this is consolidating and moving me on to another way of being in the world and being in my body, and total acceptance of the fact that I am just love. That's all. That's it. Just love, and it's not just really. It's love. Yeah. So welcome, Karen Morley, and help. Thank you for being present with me and helping me understand this even more. Yeah.
I enjoy being with you, Crow.
We are today still reading the prelude, and we're just taking 2 verses at a time most days because it's so full of the most delicious meat um, to get my heart around. So we're not reading this book from our minds, we're reading it from our hearts. And today I am determined to own everything I say. So let's begin at Prelude 19. What are good intentions but a choice to do what you can, alone, by yourself, and against great odds? This is why good intentions so often fail to come to be at all, and why, when every effort has been made, the outcome seldom seems worth the effort. You cannot earn your way to heaven or to God with your efforts or your good intentions. You cannot earn and will not ever feel as if you have earned the designation of a person of such worth that you are deserving of all that God would freely give. Give up this notion. Karen?
You have decided that you know how to do good works, but that you do not know how to do what God asks of you. You think, if God asked me to build a bridge, I would build a bridge. And this is likely true. Yet you will not become the bridge. You refuse to recognize that the Christ in you provides the bridge, that you need only walk across to bridge the distance between heaven and hell, between your separated self and union with God and all your brothers and sisters. You prefer to think a good deed here. A bit of charity there is more important. You prefer to give up on yourself and to help others without realizing that you can help no others until you have helped yourself. You prefer selflessness to self because this is your chosen way to abolish ego and to please God. This is not unlike the attitude of a good mother who decides to sacrifice herself for her children without realizing that her sacrifice is not only unnecessary but undesirable.
Wow, that's full on, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've been trained to
Yeah.
put our kids first, and
Yeah.
that their lives are ultimately important. Oh, okay, let's have a look. What are good intentions but a choice to do what you can alone by yourself against great odds? How often do we use the word intention in sentences during the day? That's not my intention. Oh, my intention is. And Karen's just disappeared.
I'm back.
um, yeah, it's interesting. Let's go on and see what they've got to say about it. This is why good intentions so often fail to come to be at all, and why. When every effort has been made, the outcome seldom seems worth the effort. Because we're efforting alone, we have forgotten that we are part of the collective consciousness that is love. And I seem to think that my good intentions and my choice to do what I can alone, if I do that, then I'm not acknowledging that I am a part of the divine experience of love that is so big, so huge, and yeah. While Fiona's coming on, do you have anything to say, Karen, about it?
I think the word effort jumps out at me there, and it's like a flashing signal for me to go, okay, effort. It doesn't mean you don't do anything, but effort means you're struggling and striving and trying against all odds.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, I'm sure that's not how we're meant to operate. I'm sure there's more of a flow to it. And so effort, really jumps out for me as a warning signal.
So effort is not about there's nothing wrong. Like let's not do the right, wrong, good, bad about efforting, and let's not do the right, wrong, good, bad about good intentions, because they are ingredients for when we are working towards a goal that is with the divine, like following our journey. That's always been my intention, is to follow my internal journey. But I can't do that without acknowledging that this being that is inside me is living through this body, and this being is divine love. This is my love light. And it doesn't take any effort to be a love light, and it doesn't take any intention. And so I think I'm waffling today, but I think I'm waffled to the point where I can now say that it takes no effort for me to be love. Love is just here. That's all there is. And it takes no intention to be love, because it's true. I am love. And so I don't need to effort. I don't need to have that intention. I just need to express divinity through me. And good morning, Fiona. You're a big F on the screen. All right, we'll leave you be. Come in if you want to. All right. You cannot earn your way to heaven or to God with your effort or your good intentions. So I'm going to stop that. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not trying to earn anything. Yeah. Because I'm already...
Good morning, Crow.
Good morning, Fiona.
Good morning, Fiona.
I'll just listen in if that's okay.
Yeah, no worries. You sound like you're still fluey.
Still a bit coldy.
Yeah.
Okay. And the cat's purring as well.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing. So you cannot earn your way to heaven or to God with your effort or your good intention. And the reason we can't earn our way, Karen, is because we're already there. God is within us always. So we don't need to get there. We don't need to earn it. And isn't that funny? Because we've been so trained to earn everything. Earn my respect. We talked about that yesterday. Earn my trust. And we don't need to. It's already there. That's our natural state, trusting and, respecting everything.
And the next two words, good intentions, again, it's labeling good or bad.
It is.
The intention. So, and what comes up for me is that the intentions if I'm trying really hard to have the good intentions, that's all based on my own belief system, my own upbringing, my own how I've been in the world, what I've seen in the world. So it's really based on that egoic side of myself, rather than being open to what really is, who I am, who I really am, in that heart-filled, joy-filled, love-filled light that I am.
Yeah. So I'm going to read that again because I think it's really important. You cannot earn your way to heaven or to God with your effort or your good intentions. So stop it. What a relief to stop it. To have to stop having to earn everything that we, earn our daughter's love or our mother's love, earn our boss's admiration, all that sort of earning thing. Just stop it and just be love on legs, walking around. You cannot earn and will not ever feel as if you have earned the designation of a person of such worth that you are deserving of all that God would freely give. Give up this notion. Stop it. All right. Because it's not about deserving, and that word just grates on me now since I've been studying superior inferior conversations and words. And that word deserve implies that everybody else doesn't. They don't deserve. So let's give up the superior words that really affect other people. Their implication is huge, and the pressure of efforting to deserve. Nah, not doing it. Karen, would you like to read the next bit, please?
Yeah. You have decided that you know how to do good works, but that you do not know how to do what God asks of you.
Ooh.
Wow. It's all based on my own framework.
Yeah.
If I base it on my framework, how I see the world, then I think I know how to do good works. And yet, can I be still enough just to stop and to listen and to be present, to see where am I directed to with love? Where am I directed to? And that stopping is so important, and that being still and having that moment just to choose what is the direction of love that I can operate in at this moment.
Yeah, and for me it brings up a whole lot of stuff, because it looks at intention again, like, why did I go to Lismore and help those people? What was my intention? And for me it was like my heart, I guess my feelings and my heart, when I saw the suffering and the destitution and the poverty of not even having, a warm house to live in and no food, and my heart just went, whoa, it just really got me there, and that's what drove me to go and help the people at Lismore, not the Super Cape hero. And yet I got a lot of accolades for having done that. And it was really important while I was there for me to do that work that I was doing up there with the trauma counselling and, feeding people and all that, to stay out of my egoic mind and just love these people, and that was my intention, I guess. So I did take an intention, which was to love and to support. So, as I said, there's nothing wrong with that. But when we do it efforting, when you do it from love, Karen, there's no effort. You know, there's just this hugeness. Your heart just becomes so huge, and it's like this is God being present with you right in this moment and listening and hearing your story and helping you to feel heard and helping you to work through your process, you know, and that's what was going on for me. It was just this hugeness of God within my heart, of love within my heart that just needed to get out.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's interesting when you put it in terms like that, whether we choose the superhero pathway. And you know, I did have a super cape on for a very long time. When I was in Christianity, I thought I had to rescue everyone. But what a huge shift to
Mm.
come now for back to celebrating whatever they're going through with them
Mm.
and enabling them rather than you know, taking away their power and trying to rescue them.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I think as nursing background too, that's been for me. It's always been to help others to put others first and do that. And I suppose the intention behind it, if I look at it for myself, if it is for affirmation, for approval, for respect, for seeking something, some sort of confirmation that I'm okay, then I'm coming from a different place than if I'm opening my heart and just acting from love towards people. And I'm noticing the difference there. I'm noticing it.
Yeah.
And
Because one is earning.
yeah, and I can still feel myself, you know, it's like I can see two bars, two balance bars, and I'm straddling trying between them. And instead of just choosing the one. And so it's just being aware at the moment of where I am and what is my intention? Where is my intention coming from?
And I think it's about also noticing when we go into that deserving, earning, efforting, struggling, you know, just really noticing it and going, oh, hello, ego. I'm watching you. Watch out.
We can come from a greater place.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. I invite you, ego, to
Yeah.
love. I invite you
Yeah.
to have no effort whatsoever. No
Imagine
effort.
how amazing that would be. Yeah, to join together and just be open. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Yeah, Fiona.
The
Yeah,
invitation is there.
I think it's when, for me, you know, thinking about, oh, you know, I'll do this, you know, good deed. And then if there's no recognition coming back or the thank you, if you don't get thanked, you think, oh, they didn't thank me for that. And that's, to me, the clear indication that it's actually, I'm doing it for my ego, to make myself feel good, rather than doing it just out of love and where you don't expect anything in return and you're just doing it for love. So that's been a thing for me lately. Just checking in. Do I need thank you for this? You know, do I need something coming back? And if I do, then it's, you know, it is purely egoic. Yeah.
And you know, there's a place in you, Fiona, that that is asking for appreciation, and that, you know, to give yourself the appreciation would meet
Yeah.
that need, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But 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 whether or not, yeah, I think it's a really good. I think it's a really good practice to check in and see what we're needing when it comes to giving, you know, and what our whether we have an intention to be rewarded or to be seen as somebody who is contributing. That's a big thing,
Yeah.
isn't it? We all need.
Yeah.
Well, we're programmed to think that we must contribute. And what would happen if we were still and silent in that moment and just loved?
Mm.
Just loved. And
Mm.
how can that expression of love be portrayed in the world?
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes when somebody is in pain and they're really going for town with their story, the greatest gift you can give them is just create that space for them. And
Mm.
it doesn't
Mm.
require a response. It doesn't
Mm.
require
Mm.
anything other than gifting them that, and they might not even notice that you've created that space for them to be seen and heard, but there'll be a feeling in their body afterwards, that they'll find the way to their own resolution, because if you let people talk enough, they eventually find their own solution, you
Mm.
know. And it's so beautiful to create that space.
Mm.
And what if we could actually give ourselves permission to not have to, to not have to respond, to not have to find solutions for somebody else, to not have to
Yeah.
help them, and just to rest in it. And how effortless is that?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mm.
beautiful,
Mm.
beautiful place
Mm.
to be. Mm. Thanks, Fiona. Where did we get to, Karen?
The first sentence of P20.
Mm.
So we're up to, you think if God asked me to build a bridge, I would build a bridge. And this is likely true. Yet you will not become the bridge.
Noah's Ark. Build an ark. What was Noah doing? He was rescuing the world. He was rescuing the animals. What was he doing? Mm. So would you build a bridge if God asked you to?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
I would, as long as he provided the labour and the materials.
But you'd be the director.
That's it. The creator of the bridge.
Yeah,
So
it's a big call, isn't it?
It is.
Mm.
That's a huge goal. Build the
Mm.
bridge. But what can we do instead? And what was the last bit of the sentence?
Yet you will not become the bridge.
Mm. So what does it mean to be the bridge? Can you read that next little bit?
You refuse to recognize that the Christ in you provides the bridge that you need only walk across the bridge, the distance between heaven and hell, between your separated self and union with God and all your brothers and sisters.
Mm.
So a metaphoric bridge.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
A metaphoric bridge. But also, when you see a bridge, you want to cross it, don't you?
Mm.
Whether you're in a car or you want to walk across the bridge. One of my greatest pleasures is walking across a bridge and looking at the water beneath me and seeing what I can see. Excuse me.
You get different views from different angles and see things differently from a different perspective. I see things from a different perspective.
Yeah. So it says, you refuse to recognize that the Christ in you provides the bridge. So Christed consciousness is the conscious state. So is it our conscious state that is walking across that bridge to our brothers and sisters, and that's what we do when we choose to love, despite the appearance of what someone is going through. So it's the Christ consciousness in us that is the bridge. that we walk across and in. So if we're in that conscious state and we're walking towards what looks like chaos or drama or someone else's stuff, then we walk towards them with love and just be present and be that bridge that allows them to come into their own consciousness.
So the words for me, let go and let God, come up. That I don't really need to do. So I don't need to get my hammer and nails out and build a physical bridge. That the bridge is already provided. But I think that for me it ties back into the efforting. Is the focusing on building the bridge, just building it, and yet it's really coming back to a place of, hey, that bridge is already built, it's already there. It's just letting go of the thought that I need to build it, that it is there, I just need to walk across. I need to trust and have faith and walk across and reach out. It's like I'm reaching out to be with another person, to be in their space, to be in their world, however that may be.
Yeah, and it brings up a lot for me, Karen, because it's like, how often do we say either silently or out loud, I need to build a bridge to that person. I need to find a way to connect. I have that with my own family. I need to find a way to connect. And if I came to that consciously, with the bridge already built, which is the bridge of love in me, there would be no efforting to make them be any different than what they are. Just love and acceptance, and creates a space for everybody to become more conscious and to be in the connection of that bridge. Yeah. And I think, we're so busy wanting to change everybody else. It's kind of the evangelist position of being better than everybody else. The superior place of I need to save you. That is actually superiority once again. And how beautiful would it be if we could just be in someone's presence without the need to correct them or make things different. And I remember being angry once, and anger is something that I have never ever been allowed to experience. And so whenever I felt angry, I would transform it, transmute it into something more acceptable because it didn't line up with the good girl, the good girl image that I had of myself. And I have no idea where I was going with that, but I feel
Anger.
like, sorry?
Anger and
Oh, yeah.
Transmuting it.
Yeah. And there was this fellow that came into my life who was very English, and I remember getting angry at him one day, and he just sat and read the paper while I was ranting, and I couldn't believe it that I'd actually got anger. I'd actually been allowed to be angry, and I had no response whatsoever, and it was such a gift to me. Because it was like he said, "Oh, it's okay for you to be angry. It's nothing to do with me. It's your anger, And it was such a gift to be able to feel something without retribution, without somebody else taking on your stuff and trying to fix it, or trying to or reacting as hurt, or having all that drama play out because someone has expressed something that's not okay in society. Yeah, so it was an amazing gift to me to be given the right to have a feeling and not have that reaction, not having to transmute it to something that was more acceptable to fit into the image of the good girl. Yeah, so even with our feelings, sometimes we're trained to effort to not feel that, you know? That's
Mm.
amazing.
Mm.
Fiona, did you have anything to say about that? You're on mute if you have.
No, sorry, my battery died, so I
Ah,
missed a little bit. So I'm back
okay.
on. So I'm just
Yeah.
listening.
Okay,
Yeah,
no worries.
about yeah. Um, so just continue.
Okay. Karen?
Yeah, I'm just looking to where we are. So I think we've just read, you refuse to recognize that the Christ in you provides the bridge, that you need only walk across to bridge the distance between heaven and hell, between your separated self and union with God and all your brothers and sisters. So you prefer to think a good deed here, a bit of charity there is more important. You prefer to give up on yourself to help others without realizing that you can help no others until you have helped yourself.
Mm. Yep.
Mm.
And we're trained as mothers and as women to put everybody else's needs first and not have our life. We have to wait till they've grown up, the children have grown up, before we can actually establish a life of our own. And that's the training that we're given right from, right from the day of birth, that you need to consider others before yourself. And for me, I now really understood how important my journey is, because that's what I came here to have. I came here to have my journey. And I brought children into the world, and and so I'm responsible for their safety, for their clothing, for housing them, but I'm not responsible for their journey. They're responsible for that. And so giving children the choice, allowing them to have that choice of what they want to wear, what they want to do, how they want to feel, and just being present with that rather than trying to change it or educate um, the child to be in the world in a proper way. Yeah, so we really do need to walk the bridge to our children and let them have their journey as well. You know.
Mm. And I can, not being a man, but I can imagine that there are also constraints put on them from society with regards to performing tasks that they
Mm,
think is their duty
mm,
to support family, to support children, and yet it might not be their true self that they are expressing. They
mm,
are performing a function.
mm. And imagine being a man and having a baby and just wanting to be with that baby and having to go back to work, you know.
Mm,
I mean,
mm,
that'd be heart tearing, really.
mm.
We don't think about those sort of things.
Yeah.
So we're just really living in our roles, and 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 if you're not in the role, society says that's not okay.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, how much pressure do we put on ourselves as humans?
Totally. A great deal of sadness comes up as we're speaking about men and what they may be yearning for, and yet they deem that they need to, well, society also, and maybe their family deems that this is the path they need to take in order to provide or to support or to nourish. And yet their heart is not being expressed.
Hmm. Hmm. And then,
Mm.
and that's when all the have tos come in. I have to do this. And why do we have to? What's the alternatives? And I know that, yeah, sure. We have a responsibility to pay our rent and, to provide a home for our children and all that sort of thing. But what does that look like? And are we open to seeing it differently? And how can it be differently and we all get our needs met? Or are we just going to be crying babies inside ourselves and not really expressing our truth? And yeah, it's huge, really. And but for me, when I realize that I am love and I'm totally connected to everything and that miracles just happen when you love, I don't worry about any of that anymore. I just live my life with absolute joy. I wake up with joy and I know that all my needs are met, and it's amazing watching how that comes into play every day without me efforting.
Yes. Mm.
Yeah, having not had children myself, can hear what you're saying about the children. And I think it's even just as a woman in society, you suppress your own needs and you look after everybody else. You put everybody else first no matter what. I'll help you do that. That's okay, I can do that. And rather than just sort of I've got to do that, that's what I'm here for. Rather than sort of saying, okay, really, what does that other person really need? And wait for them to ask you for something, rather than just sort of saying, oh, I'll do that for you. So I have been looking at that, quite a bit, and and it's just that role of female in society. You look after everybody else first. Yeah. And I've been spending a bit of time with my niece and her new son, and just watching how she cares for him. And it's been beautiful because she's just coming from a place of pure love. Um, and I just keep on saying, "You're a wonderful mum. You're a wonderful mum." Just see that love expressed. And she's just enjoying that process. Um, and there's a big smile on her face. Baby was screaming for 2 hours on Saturday night, and that we were talking and smiling and laughing. It's sort of how can I put it? It's a different thing where we were just both coming in, enjoying it and loving it, and loving the child, rather than thinking, oh, when can I go and have dinner? When can I, when will this child keep quiet so that, and I've got to get this child quiet. So it was a lovely experience to come from a place of just loving.
It certainly makes a difference.
Yeah. And I was just sort of noticing that, and yeah, there wasn't anything I have to do this. It was just enjoying the whole experience.
Karen, do you want to read the next bit?
Yeah. You prefer selflessness to self because this is your chosen way to abolish ego and to please God. Mm-hmm. Why do we don't need to please? I don't need to please God. I am love. So there's no need to please. When
I think about all the times I've been trying to please people, all the times in my life I've been wasting, efforting. I'm efforting to please you.
Mm.
You know, stop it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that today.
Yay. This is not unlike the attitude of a good mother who decides to sacrifice herself for her children without realizing that her sacrifice is not only unnecessary but undesirable.
Mm.
Mm.
If we're happy in our journey, our children are happy, I reckon.
Mm. And for me, the word sacrifice coming in there, there's like, whoa, that's a big word. I need to do effort, do all these things and get acknowledgement, because to sacrifice means for me that I require acknowledgement of all of that effort and from outer sources, and that I'm not operating from the beauty of who I am uniquely within me. I am operating to gain some sort of recognition or acknowledgement. Yeah.
And suffering and sacrifice are two words that seem to go very well together, don't they?
Mm.
You know, if you're sacrificing, you're suffering in some way. And why are you doing that? You know, that's not what your children need. They don't need you to be suffering and sacrificing. They need you to be happy and loving and careful and carefree and, you know, peaceful and kind. And those are the things that are in natural state. And that's what feeds their soul. You know, that's what brings them into their own self-care and their own self-nourishment and journey, you know. But when we're giving them the example of suffering and sacrifice, and that's how you're supposed to live your life, not a good example at all. And they don't want that. They don't want us to suffer. They just want love. And that's what we just want, really.
Mm.
Mm.
And we're modeling that, and we're there. The children, I am the child's guidance system in the early years. And so if they see that and see me modeling that, then that's a framework that I think my children set up for themselves. So I am doing something undesirable at that point.
Mm.
Mm.
It's a big wake-up call, really, isn't it?
Mm.
To wake up from society's conditioning and patterning and programming and just come back to the basics of just loving.
Mm. And I see the beauty of that in my children. They're operating in a totally different way to how I parented. And it's beautiful to see. They are operating from the heart and from love. And I'm learning as I watch them.
Yeah. It's amazing how I don't know how old you are, Karen, but I was born in the 50s, and that was when you had to be the perfect housewife. You know, you had to have the food on the table at 6 o'clock, and you have to be dressed nice for your husband to come home, so you know he feels comfortable. And yeah, there's no such thing as slopping around the house in a tracksuit. You had to be Betty Botter. You know, have vacuumed the house, and everything was dusted, and you know all that sort of stuff. And so much pressure to be the perfect wife, you know, the perfect mother. And, you know, the husband has been working hard all day to provide for you, so you need to have, you know, everything, slippers ready for him to put on, and the paper ready on Sunday morning, and the bacon and eggs, and all that sort of stuff, you know. And the pressure that created, and it was such a selfless society for women, you know, that they had to put everybody else's needs. And, you know, we were so trained to do that. And I'm so glad that we can shift out of that now and just be our authentic, true selves and breathe and do the things that make us fun, play, and adventurous, you know. Yeah, every day. So let's be happy today and go out, dress for our day of adventure and fun and play, and see what we can explore with. Like, let's go climb a tree. Or at least let's go hug a tree. Or at least
Yeah.
let's go put our hands on a tree and say, hey, I'm here. You're a sentient being. I love you. Different way to be in the world, that's for sure. Fiona.
Yeah.
I think sacrifice is that's sort of the word that sort of really stood out for me. How much do we sacrifice? It's a huge thing. It's you get the image of Christ hanging on the cross, sacrificing his life. People sort of taking sacrifices to the altar. It's a huge thing where we give up so much on ourselves, and then to use the word, come rather than sacrificing, come from a place of love. It's a huge difference.
And even when I lived with the Native American Indians, Fiona, it was very based on suffering and sacrifice. Suffering for a lot of the ceremonies were about suffering and sacrifice. When you go on the hill, go on vision quest for 4 days without food and water and sleep, that's suffering. I've got lots and lots of stories about that, and there's in a sense I'm relieved that I'm not suffering, because I did spend a lifetime of suffering and sacrificing, and I'm not doing it anymore. And it's so much easier to just love. It's a relief and a release, a transformation and a transmutation. I'm transforming what I knew into something that's totally new. And the only way I can do that is to be willing to move and change with the universe, because that's what the universe does every day, every moment of every day is in constant change and motion. And as soon as I feel myself going into that rut of this is the way I like it, this is the way it's got to be, I know that something big's coming, and I'm gonna have to shift and change, or otherwise it's gonna be a big bang in my life, Yeah. So being willing.
Yeah. I think the other thing is, you have that word in your head of, I have to do this. And there's a real feeling of heaviness around it, and a heaviness in your body. Whereas if you can say, okay, what do the other people really want? What are they asking for? Let me be open to listen to that. And then your body, there's a whole sort of lightness then in the body. Yeah, it's sort of, there's just a whole change of feeling, whereas I've got to do this. It's like, oh no, I have to sacrifice myself.
Good on you.
I'm going to use that word a bit more when I'm feeling like I'm doing it for, rather than just coming from love or what the other person really wants and needs. I was going to use the word sacrifice. Am I sacrificing myself?
And that's a good way to approach change, because if we can play with it and make it, something that's playful, it helps us change really quickly,
Yeah.
And we're not stuck anymore in that rut of this is how it should be, and I need to, and I have to, and I've got to, and I want to, and I'm doing it, I'm being it, I'm doing it,
Yeah, that's right. So I'm going to ask myself, am I sacrificing myself?
Shall I get the cross for you? Yeah.
I think it's a great word.
I am needing to go, and I would like to celebrate that black crow walking came to this earth, as in was born to this earth on this day, and it's a celebration to know you. So thank you.
Thank you. Blessings.
And thank you for entering my life. Bye-bye, Fiona.
Bye-bye, Karen.
And so I'll end the recording now.